What is up, peeps? Actually, I think there's somebody else on YouTube already does that. What is up, Fabrication Nation? That's more like it right there. So I've done a couple videos over the last week, I guess, on my new welding table. Some of them were actually the build of the welding table. Some were some projects that I've done on this. And I've had a lot of questions about the clamps, the fixture mount clamps that go on the welding table, and how I made them and how they work. So today, I'm gonna do you a little short video on how these are made and how they work. Alright, so first off, really quick, if you're not familiar with the industry standard of this style fixture clamp or welding table clamp, they're referred to as a Bessey clamp, or at least that's what I know them as. And they are made to basically slide in these holes on a welding table. And all you have to do is slide them in there, and then when you're ready to mount something, this thing right here will slide up and down. And then you can just tighten this to your desired tightness. And the way that it works is that this bottom section fits in those holes pretty tight. And as you tighten this down out here, it kind of binds this section in that hole because it's offset. So it doesn't actually pull it out. It kind of binds it in there, and it won't allow it to go anywhere. Now to buy the really nice ones, the name brand ones, you're looking at probably like 50 bucks for just a standard clamp, just like this. And then they go up from there based on some of the features that they have. Some of them have an adjustment this way as well, so you can actually move where this thing touches whatever you're working on, out or in, whatever you need to, however you need to move it. So when I first got this table, I didn't have any clamps. I knew that I was gonna have to come up with something, and originally I basically just took a C-clamp and made one. The disadvantage to this is there's no quick adjustment on the side. You have to actually screw this thing all the way down or all the way up, and you're kind of limited on the height you can go. I'd mentioned it briefly in a video or on a Snapchat. Had somebody hit me up on Snapchat, show me some videos of what they had done, and you can also check him out on Instagram, 4130 Chassis Works. He basically sent me some videos showing me that he had made these clamps here out of this style clamp that you can get at Harbor Freight. Very cheap. So this clamp here is, I don't know, I think $3.99. You can get a longer one for like $4.99. They make them really long, but I wouldn't necessarily think that you'd need something like that on a table like this. You kind of need them, most of your clamps pretty low. So I got like 2 of these. I got like 6 of these. And basically it's really easy. All you have to do is on these clamps, they have like a rivet in the end of it. I just grind off the small head of that rivet and then just pound that thing through here. Take this end off, so all you're left with is the adjustable section. And then what I do is I take, I believe this is 5/8 rod. I actually didn't even measure it, but it fits perfectly, or just has just a little bit of play, and it fits in these holes pretty good. So I took some of that rod, I just cut them to like, I don't know, 1.25 inches, and I slot the end of it. So I just kind of slot this thing down so this little piece will slide inside of there, weld it up. And when I do that, I actually put a little bit of an angle on it. So I angle it slightly towards the clamp side. So this thing is kind of angled this way. And the reason I do that is because when you slide this thing in the hole, it's not gonna be straight up and down. It's gonna be kind of leaning slightly But as you tighten this down, it'll straighten it up. And that way the clamp's straight up and down. And then this thing being a little bit crooked in that hole helps it to bind better, I guess. Here, let me show you right quick how these things work. All right, so I've just got this 90-degree mount in here. I've got it bolted to the table. It didn't really need to be bolted. I was actually using it to make these clamps, and that's why it's bolted. But for instance, if you were gonna wanna hold this thing down, you just slide that bad boy in there like that, and you can kind of see that it leans this way slightly. And then you can just push down on this and it'll tighten up. And then you just turn the handle. And I mean, she is solid, like she is not going anywhere. If it wasn't bolted, I mean, literally that thing would be held in there extremely tight. You ready to take it loose? Couple twists, you can grab it right here, slide it up, piece comes right out. You can move it somewhere else on the table. Go again. Or when you're done, you can just pick it up and move it out of the way. Here, let's try it on a piece of wood. It's got a 4x4 here. Slide it in, adjust it, clamp it. She's there. Not going anywhere. These things aren't coming out. It's permanently mounted in there. Not permanently, I mean, I guess it's tightly mounted in there. And then when you need to move on to the next piece, there you go. Anyway, there you go, fixture mounts. If you had any questions on how these things work, now you know. If you want to make some for your own welding table, it's really easy. It's actually not very hard at all. You can knock a couple of these things out in like a half hour. And they're relatively cheap. Now I will tell you, these aren't the strongest, most durable clamps. I mean, you may have issues with these things breaking or something down the road, but they're $4. So, you know, you can take that for what it's worth. If you want to spend $50 and get a more substantial clamp, you can do that. These things are really nice if you're gonna make multiple pieces of the same part. So like say you're gonna make some A-arms, you're gonna make some, you know, lower control arms, you're doing some kind of off-road vehicle or, you know, a drag car or whatever, and you need to basically make your own fixture to put these tubes and pipes in, mount it down, you know, tighten everything up. And then when you're done, say you need to kind of change it up slightly, you can do that with these clamps. The guy that turned me onto these makes custom handlebars and stuff like that for motorcycles, and so for him it was really easy. He can make different fixtures, slide them in the holes, and then he can easily clamp them in whatever configuration that he needed to do that. I'm not really sure that I'll be doing anything like that, but as you may have seen when I did the ZT Fab cart, welding cart, I used these things to kind of mount that cart to this table, keep it nice and flat while I welded everything up. Worked really good. And I like the fact that I can easily move these things out of the way. That can store them back here on the back of the table. So, got 3 made, gotta make some more, but you'll see a lot more of those on the channel as I use this welding table, this Certiflat welding table. I plan to do like a custom intake at some point for the bibster, probably aluminum, so I'll use this kind of as a heat sink and kind of keep it from warping. Clamp that thing down nice and tight while I build it. I also plan to use this table to make aluminum mufflers for the Gray Goose, and I'll be mounting those here, trying to keep those nice and straight and flat while I weld everything up. You hear that buzzing noise? How's that? Is that better? Some of you have mentioned that I've had some noise from the lights. I have these really big gas lights up in the tops of the... And so sometimes when I turn those on, they'll make some noise. But I've also had some ballasts that were going bad, making some noise. I'm trying to switch everything over to LEDs. I know you guys have been telling me to switch to LEDs for a long time, so I'm trying to make that switch, and I think I've knocked out all the ballast noise. So as long as I keep them big bad boys off, you shouldn't hear that in the videos as much anymore. Anyway, quick video for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys some more this week. Go do work, son. Oh, and I will be back Friday with a tool.